Sometimes you wondered if Pᴇʀsᴏ was born with an angry expression stuck to his face. It was something you had laughed about with your mother when you were younger. While you admired your older brother, you also knew how he could be harsh at times, especially to that boy, Izuku Midoriya. Today he had rampaged home again, yelling about how he'd beat the living shit out of Deku. Deku. You thought about him, the small boy with green hair that always seemed to linger around Pᴇsᴏ. When you were younger, you used to hang out with your brother a lot too. You believed both you and Midoriya looked up to Pᴇsᴏ, and even believed you were friends with the boy at one time. However, he'd stopped coming around and it stayed that way. You too stopped hanging out with your older brother and his friends. They were all like him, way more than you were. Pᴇsᴏ might have been your brother, but you weren't honestly like him, in any sense at all, really. You were quiet and reserved, and still are. Your brother called you a softie for it, but that was just how you were. Nevertheless, he protected you when you couldn't protect yourself, and knew he loved you despite the words he tossed around so carelessly. Ugh, I wish he would just die. That was a common phrase heard in your household. It could be directed at any of the guys your brother knew, but you had an inclination that it was about Midoriya again today. You and your father tended to stay out of his way when he was like this. Your mother, though, had no problem yelling at him to keep his voice down. "Shut up, you old hag!" "Pᴇsᴏ, you shouldn't talk to Mom like that," you whispered under your breath. Your brother looked at you and tusked, "Whatever." Your father sighed and your mother shook her head. "I don't know what I did to raise such an ungrateful child." You eyed your father, sweat dripping down his brow even more. "Yes, honey, I too wonder." An irk mark appeared as she raised her fist. "I swear the next time he calls me old hag, I'm gonna pummel him." You inched away, walking up back to your room. Today was the day before your finals, but it was also the day before Pᴇsᴏ's birthday, April 19th. You had too many things to plan for. You wanted to make him a special birthday lunch, but you also needed to study. You decided that you'd start on his lunch, and while it cooked, you'd do some studying at the kitchen table. Despite the closeness lost between you and your brother, he was still your role model, and you idolized him in many ways. He was strong, he was determined, he was never apprehensive, and blunt. You could only hope to be like him one day. "Hey." You jumped a little, your daydream fading away. Turning around, you found Pᴇsᴏ at your side. His head turned in a manner of, you wanted to say, shyness. "Oh, hi." You smiled fondly. "I smelled something good. What are you making?" Sweat dripped down your forehead. You nodded toward the stove. I'm making your lunch for tomorrow." His forehead creased and his eyebrows drew together. "Why?" You shook your head. "It's your birthday. You turn 16 tomorrow, remember?" "Yeah, but why?" You sighed. Your brother could be such a tsundere sometimes. You don't think you've ever heard him voice how he truly felt, but you could always tell either way, what he wanted to say or what he was thinking. It was the little things that gave him away, things you knew only you would be able to pick up on. Right now, he wanted to say, "Thank you." You took in the sight of Pᴇsᴏ and then smiled. "You don't have to say anything. You're welcome." The small coat of blush spread. He turned his head, finally looking you in the eye. "It's not like that. You unimportant shadow clone." "Come now, that's no way to talk to your little brother." You enjoyed teasing him, because you knew full well he'd never lay a finger on you. It was also a rare moment for Pᴇsᴏ to act so adorably. You pouted. "Shut up, mini-me. I don't even look like you." That was a lie. You did look like him. You had the same bone structure, and although your jawline was softer, you had the same colored eyes, red to the bone. The only difference was in your attitudes and personalities. Pᴇsᴏ came off as a brute, while secretly being an emotional loser. You knew that you came off as a small, helpless kitten, but you were definitely not. Your attitudes were spot on, though. He is mean, and you think he goes too far. You are really open-minded, but Pᴇsᴏ likes to stick with what he's always known best. An odd sibling affair indeed. You're still an extra. You let your tongue hang, making an L over your forehead. Loser. I'll kill you. You sang out, don't make empty threats. It's not empty, it's... The food timer dinged. Ooh, looks like it's done cooking. Best to put it away now, so it won't get dry. Don't ignore me, toddler. Ignoring you. I'm gonna... You woke up in the early morning. Your papers scattered around your desk area. Last night, you'd prepared Pᴇsᴏ's lunch so you would have extra time to get ready. You knew Pᴇsᴏ left home way earlier than you because his school was a bit farther and the trains were always packed in the morning, especially in the Shizuoka prefecture. You also knew that your brother would be too prideful to take the lunch from your hands, even if it were his favorite, so you wanted to prepare his lunch first. You walked downstairs, placing Pᴇsᴏ's lunch in his favorite bento box. It had a small all-might drawing at the bottom in the corner. It was perfect for your tsundere, all-might-loving, fan-embarrassed brother. You carefully set everything in its place and wrote a tiny note. Happy birthday, it said with a smiley face. You set it on the counter and went back upstairs to finish getting ready. You took a shower and picked up your room, although it was still a bit messy. You told yourself you would clean it up when you got home, although in the back of your mind you had already forfeited cleaning up anything today. An hour later, you walked downstairs and set your bag on the couch, walking into the kitchen to grab your own lunch. You walked back out with a bottle of water. Setting it on the counter, you yawned and began eating the breakfast made by your mother. Hey, Wyan. Yeah? You looked up, bags under your eyes. Did you make Pᴇsᴏ lunch today? You faced your mom, confusion spreading across your face. I did last night. Why? She nodded her head towards something on the other side of you. You eyed the box, and then you screamed, I'm gonna kill that jerk! You sighed, wiping sweat from your forehead. Not only were you going to be late today, but you were also probably going to miss the first part of your finals and have to redo it during summer. You're going to murder him. Exterminate. You gripped your bag as tight as you could, grinding your teeth together. If you didn't know your brother, you would have given him the benefit of the doubt. But the problem was, you did, and you knew he did this on purpose. He was really pissing you off today. Anything he did would get under your skin, which is why you planned to sneak it into his bag, give it to his teacher or a classmate. Yeah, your first plan didn't seem all that foolproof. You would have a better chance of getting it to him through a classmate. You could try finding Midoriya. You doubted he even remembered you. As long as you got Pᴇsᴏ's lunch to him, you would be fine. You would shove it down his throat if you had to. Being embarrassed was something of the past. He needed to get over his idiotic facade. You were getting sick of it. You approached a large building with 2 guards at the front entrance. You smiled and explained your situation. I'm here to drop off my brother's lunch. He forgot it at home. More like ignored it, you thought. Anyway, I'm just here to drop it off. If you had to finish your finals in the summer, you would be absolutely mortified. Just thinking about having to waste the first part of your summer at school because of your brother had you thinking of one word alone. Homicide, homicide, homicide. You repeated in your head. Who are you looking for? One of the guards asked. Bakugo Pᴇsᴏ. Do you have any ID? I have my middle school ID. Will that work? The guards looked at each other, then nodded, and the one who spoke answered again. Yes. All right, here. You pulled your ID from your bag, handing it over to the guard. He nodded and showed it to the other guard. They handed it back to you and let you pass. Thanking them, you headed toward the main building, where you assumed the office was. Once inside, you spoke to a woman who offered to let you go on your own as long as you left your bag in the office. You agreed, and then she'd said she needed to pat you down before. You agreed again, checking the time every few seconds, knowing you were missing your exam. You sighed after all the security checks had been done. The classrooms weren't so hard to find. It was actually pretty easy since there were only first years on the second floor. 1A was pretty easy to find. It was at the complete back of the hall and was kind of closed off to all the other classrooms. You heard footsteps getting louder every time they sounded. You assumed someone was approaching you. Choosing to ignore whoever it was, you continued your trail without hesitation. When you rounded the corner, you came face to face with a boy, but not just any boy, an extremely handsome boy. You stopped for a moment, just staring at him, his eyes and his hair. It wasn't just that he was cute. No, you had seen him someplace before. You fought to place him in your mind, then your face lit up in recognition. Todoroki Shoto, if you remembered correctly. Yeah, your brother had mentioned him before. Well, maybe more like complained, but all the same. He spoke of the guy as if he were his arch nemesis. He spoke of him as he spoke of Midoriya. The boy passed you, but you had stopped walking a while ago. You spun around on your heels and went after him. Hey, wait! The boy, Todoroki, turned around, his expression emotionless. Yes? He didn't even seem to take in your appearance, but he eyed you with something you couldn't quite place. Katsuki never looked at you like this, like you were an outsider. It made you uncomfortable. You wanted to make this quick. You're in Katsuki's class, right? Would you mind giving this to him for me? You lifted up the bento box. You watched Todoroki eye the box in your hand. Then he looked back at you, then took the box without saying anything. He turned back around and continued going the way he was going. You stood there a while, thinking how awkward it would be if you walked back toward the office now. You leaned back on one of the large windows, closing your eyes while trying to catch your breath. That was intense, you thought. Then thought, my summer is totally ruined. Hey everyone, I just wanted to know if you guys liked the first episode or not. Tell me how it was for you. Did you feel anything? I don't know, did you guys like it? Am I doing a good job? I really don't want to mess this up because this is kind of the first real serious boy BL I've ever really wrote. And I'm really excited, especially because this month is Pride Month. Like, I'm so excited. I have this, I think it's called a GL, if it's BLGL, you know? I'm gonna read it this month for my TBR. I'm so excited. But, like, yeah, I forgot what it's called. But if you want to know what it is, just ask me in the comments and I'll tell you. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm so excited to make the next one. Also, I'm sorry about the background noise. My cat was being a little loud, but she's a kitten, so that's why she's really playful. Anyways, I'm gonna head out now. Bye, everyone.